Hi, we're so excited to join you tonight via live StreamYard. So we are excited. We're going to try this out tonight. And I am Jenny Long.
And I'm Celie Clark.
And we are Jenny. There you go. You did it.
How's that, right? Not bad.
Good job. Well, we are instructional technologists with Eagle Mountain Saginaw Independent School District, which is a little bit north of Fort Worth, Texas. And we are so excited because as you all have been learning and sharing, I'm sure, on Twitter and Facebook and going to webinars and just soaking in all the information, we likewise have been doing the same. And we have a special guest with us here tonight. And this is our first time to do this. So Scott is our guinea pig. So
Love it.
We are so glad that he's been willing to jump in and just help us out tonight. And so we're going to just let him share about himself and great things that he is doing with his teachers in his district. And so we just wanted to get him on here so that he can share and you guys can learn from him also. So Scott, I'm going to let you take it away and just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and your role and where you're from and a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me. And if this breaks the Jenna Lee show, I will take full responsibility. We can reboot. You can break everything with me and then get it right with the next guest and start fresh. So, no, in all seriousness,
anybody but you.
I appreciate that. You're very kind. Super thrilled to be here. Obviously, always love chatting with you all. So, my name is Scott Bricker. I'm the Director of Educational Technology at Santa Margarita Catholic High School in Southern California. We are a proud Microsoft Showcase school. We've been that way for 6 years now. I'm also an MIE expert along with Celie and Jenny. In my role, I support basically our entire school. So we're a 912 private Catholic high school in South Orange County, halfway between LA and San Diego. And I'm basically in charge of all of our technology in the classroom. So I work with teachers, students. I do outreach to the schools in the community that want to come visit us. Basically anything that happens with ed tech on our campus, I oversee. That includes training and learning about Microsoft products and new innovative ways of teaching with technology, the whole deal. I also teach one class, which is kind of nice. I love that role, being able to still be in the classroom. So I teach one class of seniors, academic calculus this year. So some people are gonna cringe their nose at that, but it's super fun. And like I say, I love being with the students and not just being behind the scenes or in an office all day. I actually get to get out and work with students. So I love my role. It's been a fun journey. I never thought I would end up where I am, but to be able to still work with students and teachers and kind of grow a program like this has been nothing short of awesome, to be honest.
I think that's so powerful that you're still teaching, because sometimes we get so far removed that we forget what it's like to be in that role. And I think in our position, I think that's powerful that you still can see both sides and be able to feel what they're feeling and going through, but also be able to support them in your role as an administrator too.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I've always wanted that. I always told myself if I ever got to like a director or administrative type role, that I wanted to do that, because we've all seen it, right? We've all seen those amazing teachers and they go to be an AP or a principal and they like change almost. And you're like, where was the person who was a 20-year educator? Where did they go? Where'd their excitement go? Their passion? Mm-hmm. So I'm super thrilled that our school has provided that opportunity to me, because it's definitely, it also fulfills a need in me, right? Like the students are why we got into this whole thing. Exactly. So to be able to still connect with them, I think to your point is really powerful.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Right now we're kind of in like a whole new world of school. It's new territory. We've never done this before, never tried this before. And Jenny and I love our MIE community, and you have been such a wonderful friend to us. Like we love, I can tweet you and just say, hey, Bricker, how in the world are you doing this? And you're like, oh, I got you. Let me tell you. And we love that and are so fortunate to have this community. So thank you for always being there to help us.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. I couldn't have said it better. I think our group, there's a lot of us obviously in the US and around the world, but kind of the small subgroups and the people that we contact all the time. I mean, they keep us going from day to day, right? Not just answers and tips and tricks, but sometimes just a check in or a funny image or meme or joke or whatever, just to kind of keep things light. So yeah, absolutely. Definitely a great group. Love it.
Well, one of the things we want to know is what celebrations or wow moments have you had during distance learning?
You know, there have been so many. I've been thinking about this question a little bit just in general. And I think I would answer this two ways, one on my campus and one kind of more nationally or even globally. I think the biggest celebration from my own eyes is I feel so fortunate to work at a school that had devices figured out. We knew what platform we were on. You guys, we basically closed school on Friday and had online classes started the following Wednesday with just one day for teachers to, come in, gather stuff, ask questions if they needed to, and get
That's
things up and
amazing.
rolling. Yeah, and I mean that speaks to the hard work, and many schools and districts have done this, but the hard work we put in over the last 5 or 6 years. I feel so fortunate we've partnered with Microsoft and OneNote, Teams, all you guys and all your followers know about those amazing tools. It was such a seamless transition for us. Now we still have challenges that I know we'll talk to at some point over the next half hour or so, but for us to not have to deal with that decision and be able to just dive right into, okay, how do we teach? How do we keep our curriculum going? I think that was the most powerful win for us as a school. And then if I look more like across the country or globally, it's just the collaboration. I'm overwhelmed by it. I'm overwhelmed by all the different, I think I'm in like 9 or 10 Facebook groups of different, global educators and Desmos for the math teachers and that kind of thing. And just the sharing that's going on is amazing. Doesn't seem like it covers it, but it's just, it's phenomenal. So I think that's my biggest celebration, is just seeing teachers everywhere, not being siloed anymore, really working together, sharing resources, and kind of all coming together. And I kind of look forward to seeing where that takes us moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you have some fans watching the show.
Uh-oh. Now we're in trouble.
Mitchell. Yeah.
Jennifer Mitchell's here and the E-Twins are here.
Love it.
Look, we got people joining us and we didn't even promote.
Love it. Well, listen, when Jenna Lee talk, people listen. So that's pretty easy. Happens very quickly.
Awesome. That's awesome. And I think what you said about teachers just jumping in, I mean, with the same thing, we've been amazed at our teachers and how they have learned,
right.
like you said, on a, they found out after spring break and then they turned around and we had a 2-day PD and then boom, they were right into it. So it's just blowing our minds of how much they are absorbing and learning and turning around and doing. Like, it's fabulous. It just is. It's so hard to imagine and I know we'll get to this too, but what is the future going to look like now that we all have this knowledge and this capability to teach this way and to work with our students in a different way that we never imagined over a month ago that we would be doing things like this.
Right.
In all of that, though, what is a struggle that you think that you and your teachers are facing, and have you found a solution for that struggle?
Yeah, I think, again, there's probably 40 answers to this question, right? That we can talk about. This is a whole hour-long session in and of itself, probably. But I think the biggest one for me in our school is lack of confidence with teachers, really, and teachers wanting to. They want to take the same way they would have taught in the classroom and move that online. It doesn't necessarily transfer, right? You really do have to kind of look at it in a different way and teach a different way. So
absolutely.
I think getting teachers to be okay with saying, hey, I don't know this online teaching thing. I'm going to figure it out with you. I think that's been a struggle, because if you fight that, if you try and put a square peg in a round hole kind of thing, you're going to struggle, and your students are going to struggle, and it's just going to be a downward spiral from there. So I think that's, on a school level, that's been my biggest struggle, is trying to find ways to reach those teachers, to get them to open up to new ideas. And to the solution part, I think it's just it's a bit of persistence. You guys know this from being instructional coaches, tech coaches, mentors, that kind of thing, right? You have to kind of build that credibility. And I think small wins, if you can give them one little small victory where they go, oh, okay, I learned how to create a Flipgrid, or I put an assignment out through Teams, or I set up a live meeting, or whatever that small win is, that can sometimes be the key that opens, the door to the kingdom, so to speak.
Yeah, I love that.
At a ground level, that's the easiest way to get in, I think.
Yeah.
And encouraging them to share too. I think once they learn how to do that,
Totally.
say, go and share that with your coworkers. That's great. Now you go and pass that on. So I think that's another thing we need to remember.
Mhm. One of the things that, we found is that our teachers, this is, like you said, totally different way of teaching. And so it is very much like, how do we learn how to do this real quick? Like we don't have years to learn or, going to college and learn how to do this. We have to do it now. And so that's, Jenny and I have been doing the same thing, like trying to find bite-sized things we can give our teachers to say, okay, try this. We hope it will help you and the students make things smoother and work better within your courses.
Yeah, and try it. And how about, this is not going to be the one switch that you turn on that fixes everything, right? Try this, tweak it, and then in a week we'll give you something else. It's that lifelong learner thing, I feel like, all over again, right? We have, as teachers, we have to kind of emulate and show the students like, hey, we're going to learn over the next, what'll it be, 6, 8, 10 weeks for some of us by the time we hit the end of the year. So we all need to kind of progress and show that lifelong learner mentality to sort of just continue to get better as we move forward. Because again, like you said, nobody's been trained on this.
Yeah.
We all got a few hours of PD and said, okay, go to it,
Just to transition here, one of my favorite comments is from Jen Mitchell. She said she loves how you match this.
That's awesome. And he had no idea.
Yep.
I've been waiting to
not planned, by the way. Let everybody know this was not planned. But
I love it.
Yeah, told him the color of the slides beforehand. Don't let him fool you.
That is great.
I do love me some pink, as people know. Pink clothes, pink drinks, pink shoes. I got it all. That's funny.
Oh, that is awesome.
That's funny.
We had to spit it up there. Okay, so what advice do you have for teachers during this time of distance learning?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a piggyback on what we were just talking about. I think it's small chunks, right? It's just take it slow. One of the big discussions at our school right away was, how are we going to give final exams and what a test look like? And again, people wanting to rush to figure everything out. And as I heard those conversations and, chatting with you guys and other, the rest of our friends in the MIE expert community and just conversations elsewhere across the country, I really just got this sense of like, oh my gosh, like, can we all just slow down? Can we all just take a breath and try and figure this out methodically? It's not going to happen overnight. And I think the biggest conclusion I came to is, what was important a month ago, a lot of that isn't important anymore. And obviously every school, every district, every county has to make some decisions for themselves. But for me, like grades, like semester grades, not important to me right now. I want to make sure my kids are okay. I've got, again, 18-year-olds. In fact, the first time on that Wednesday, we closed school Friday, met on Wednesday, we spent 35 minutes and their questions were, hey, is prom going to be canceled? What about graduation? What's my college going to look like? I mean, these are like, whether they get an A, B, C, or F in my class suddenly doesn't matter, So I think that, coming back to your question, the biggest advice is just to go slowly, really methodically work through things and realize that just as we're talking about the teachers not getting any training on this, guess what? The students didn't get any training either, And I've actually been writing some blog posts about it that I'm hoping to finish this week. As it turns out, when you have a 5-year-old and a 9-month-old, it's not easy to write daily blog posts. Just so you know.
Hey,
or when you have 4 kids running around.
Yeah, right. We know. Big ambitions, but I'll get there, I promise. But anyway, that was kind of what I talked about. Is just really slowing things down and being methodical about it. And if you don't cover the last chapter, it's going to be okay. We'll fix it next year. If they don't figure out how Great Gatsby ends, we'll figure it out next year, or whatever. There's just more important things at play here.
Yeah, Jenny, what's one of your tips?
Well, and I think, like you said, though, too, it's for students, this is a whole new learning experience for them. I mean, I spent all weekend with my freshman trying to understand her Canvas course. Like I've been giving them a little freedom and probably should have grabbed a hold of them a little sooner. My junior's doing a really good job. But I mean, if your teachers haven't been using Canvas other than just file uploads, and they're actually now teaching from modules and actually, putting content out there, that students might not understand that. So I had to we spent all weekend going through, and I said, now look, this is a sequence of things. You have to click here and go to the next thing. And this is where you find the files, and this, you need to go to announcements. And I mean, bad on me for not sitting down with her sooner, but it's just finding the time, and
Right.
she was like, oh, I get it now. Okay. But they need that too. Like they don't just automatically know how to work online. This is not
Totally.
an environment that they're used to. And especially, we're not one district. So this is completely different for our students. And I think even in students, I mean, they probably are easing into it a little bit easier if they are one-to-one because they're more familiar with those platforms. But
yeah,
I think for me, it would be grace, both for teachers and students.
great word.
Because like my son is in 8th grade and I have not let him do it on his own. I very much have been like, oh, no, let me see. What are you writing? What are you turning in? And because I am like, oh, that's not a complete sentence. You didn't use capitals. Where's your punctuation? So I like, dig into all these things as a teacher I expect him to have. But then I go in and I see other comments totally just like his. And I'm like, okay, I have to step back and give him grace the same way that I know his teachers are giving him grace in this moment. So I think both for parents and teachers, let's love our kids and know that they're trying their best.
Yeah, for sure. What are your, let me turn the questions on you all for a second. What are your kids at home saying about the social aspect? Like, have they been able to like somewhat eloquently describe what they're going through outside of the curriculum piece?
I think it's been, and that's one thing I keep reminding myself too, is to really to try to be sensitive to their feelings, because how they express their emotions, it could be anger, it could be, just different ways, and shutting down, not talking. My kids are dealing with all kinds of emotions, and 3 females plus a male, and there's a lot of hormones going on. But I noticed I saw a journal on my freshman's desk earlier when I was in her room, and I started just kind of peek through it a little bit, but she was kind of journaling, and she had her Bible open, and she was writing down some scriptures, and it was more of just like a kind of a diary to the Lord. And I just thought that was really awesome that she's pouring her heart out. And I didn't want to read too much because I know that's her private, but it really touched me that she was, because even, we encouraged them the other day when we were sitting down for dinner, we said, write, this is a time, just write about your feelings, write about your emotions, because you'll want to look back and you'll want to see, how were you feeling? How did you cope? How did you get through this time? This is historical, like just to write this down. So I was really happy that she's doing that and journaling. But
that's awesome.
Just trying to get them to go outside and express, work out, get your frustrations out and be outside, get the fresh air, just and listening to them and taking time to, which I need to do better about, is sitting down with them and really giving them quality time, because they just see me rushing around and working and doing so much. And that's, like I said, my oldest is a little mad at me because she prepared dinner, and she's been enjoying the family meals, because that's something that we're not used to doing too. So just I think listening and trying to take their cues and again, slow down, even as a parent,
being present, right? It's so hard to be present, but so important.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what we've started doing too, because my son is middle school, 8th grade boy. So all his friends are online playing video games. So that is where he goes to connect. And so he'll go online and play, but we've had to put in limits and, restraints on that to make sure that's not all of our day and all of our time. But we've also made moments to slow down. And so now he loves Audible on Alexa. So he'll come and just listen to a book. And then just the other day, actually, he downloaded the Bible app and plays it on Audible or on Alexa. And so we started listening together because, again, we needed that moment just to slow down together and have time together. So that's kind of what our new routine has been, is each night we're listening to a chapter together, discussing it, and just having time to, decompress over this stressful time. And we don't realize we're stressed, but we are.
Oh, totally. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny too, because the girls went today, one of their friends had a birthday party. And so, like a drive-by, so that's the new thing now, the birthdays and the drive-bys, so they went and they picked up cupcakes for her and went and took them to her. So, just really encouraging them to stay connected, and really support their friends and do what they can to keep those friendships going, because that's hard, and this is those years when those memories and those friendships are most important. And, we don't want them to suffer from this, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, in all of this and this new adventure that we're in, this is something Celine and I have really talked a lot about. And it's like, we were just it's so hard to imagine what it's going to look like. But what do you think education is going to look like after all of this as a result?
This is, in my opinion, the $10 billion question in all of this. And I mean, maybe at some point I'm going to invite myself back. I'm assuming this show's going great right now, and I'm going to be asked back every week. I can be your sidekick or whatever moving forward. But in all seriousness, I think this is a topic that really is going to be addressed a ton moving forward. Once we get past all this and kind of get, back to normal or find our new normal, I think there's a lot of people who are really talking about this. Some of us have been talking about it for a while, that we want, reform in education and some change to come. But I think this has really opened Pandora's box. I was chatting in a Facebook conversation with our friend Stephen Reed, Immersive Mind, who we know, just a brilliant, amazing, passionate educator. And he and I just had a quick exchange and basically said, it's awful that it took a global pandemic to open everybody's eyes to this. But if coming out of this, we just go right back to doing what we were doing before, we've lost a unique opportunity to really make some positive change. So having said all that, I think it's going to change drastically. I really do. I certainly hope we don't move everything remote. I think there's something very unique about a school campus. You all know, when you walk on a school campus, there's like an energy. Mm-hmm. If that school has the right culture and whatnot to it, there's an energy to it like nothing else I've experienced it. You don't walk into a bank and feel that same energy. No offense to any bankers on the webinar today on the call, but
unless you're cashing a big check and you get to walk
okay,
out
there's
there
that too. Yeah. Then I as the customer have the energy. The bank doesn't care much, but
or you may not have the energy.
That's true. That's true. But so I certainly think I think that there's a power of being on campus. There's a place obviously for homeschooling and all that kind of stuff, but by and large, I think there's something very special about the social community and just the overall experience of being on campus. But at the same time, I think people are going to have to figure out how to harness the successes of remote learning, and whether it's a new tool that they figured out or a new way of thinking and teaching. In my own mind, I'm considering moving completely away from exams. I don't want to do any chapter exams anymore. I want to do reflections and projects and portfolios. And I was kind of toying around with this to begin with, but then when you get an environment like this, very difficult to give a calculus exam, remotely, where you're ensuring, the security of the exam and yada, yada, yada. We can all see where that would go, right? Yeah. And the other piece is, my students and I have had this conversation a lot. When a teacher gives an assessment or an exam, the teacher picks what's on that exam, right? Well, what if the student didn't study what's on the exam, but they studied the other stuff? They're screwed, right? I mean, they're toast. Mm-hmm. Whereas if we move to like projects and reflections and that kind of thing, then the student gets to share what they know, not what they know about what the teacher asked them about, if that makes sense, right? I mean, yeah. I really hope, and that's just one example. I'm sure the three of us and others could think of a million things that might change, but I just, I'm with Stephen and I see you guys nodding your head. I think a lot of us are just thinking like, we've got to capitalize on this and do something different. I've got one other thing I'll share, but I'll let you guys kind of chime in before I get to that.
Well, and you make me think of like just creating, and I've seen a lot of like our friend Craig McBain, he's been like making this amusement park, and building this world in Minecraft and just having kids create more, and using their graphic, teaching graphic skills and using those tools to create and share in a way that they wouldn't normally have access to these things. And I think like even my kids are like, Mom, I can actually like annotate using OneNote now, and I can actually use dictation. I can use all these tools that you've talked about, but they never really had an opportunity with a device. And now that they're using a device every day, and I think that's the power of having access to devices, which I'm really excited. Our district is going to be 1-to-1 now after this in the secondary. So we've ordered over 10,000 laptops. We lease our devices, and then we've got thousands coming in. So we will be 1-to-1. So that's kind of, Selena, I've been like waiting for this day when our kids have the access, because you can do so much.
You can.
I think one of the good things that's come out of this is teachers are less fearful of technology. I think, being thrown in, it's almost like we're being thrown into the deep end. So we have to learn how to swim real fast. And so I think a lot of the things that we were facing before as tech coaches, a lot of times it is fear, like, oh, I don't want to click the button. It might break something, or it might go wrong, or I think a lot of that I hope a lot of that has gone away, because now you've had to click the buttons. We've had to swim somehow. And I mean, we've already seen our teachers are amazing, and we have had so much fun visiting with them and helping them. And all of them have had such positive attitudes and tried new things and been willing to step outside their boxes. And I have loved watching all of them grow. And so I do hope that a lot of that fear will be gone and that growth will continue after this time of distance learning.
Yeah. And I think you're going to see it even more and more as you guys go 1-to-1, just the common language that you can have, right? When you're using the same devices, you're using the same tools. Now that PLC becomes more and more powerful. You're not a siloed teacher anymore. You can actually, like, you have a team, you have your tribe, right? Like we talk about our MIE experts all the time. You have that group of people that you can go to for anything. The other piece that I was going to add to this, and this is a bit of a California thing, but I was doing a little bit of research thinking about this exact question. It'll be in my final blog later on this week, but looking at the credentialing system, and again, mostly in California, but I'm up to, I think, 6 universities that I've looked at in their credential program, and comparing the courses that they offer and what it takes to get a credential at different schools. And it's all over the place. That's in one state. So like, my question is, how is one state preparing their teachers when Stanford does one thing and LMU does another and Cal State Fullerton does a third set? There's some commonality woven throughout. But we've got to all get on the same page somehow. And I don't know that I'm suggesting a national, credential or anything, but how many times have you had friends, they leave Texas and come to California and their credential's no good?
Yeah.
And they're a 15-year, amazing teacher. Like, how is that a thing? How are we not at least 50% all teaching the same way, or learning, being trained and mentored the same way into this profession? It blows me away. So I hope that not only do I hope teachers come together, but I just hope the whole education system, and I know we've got to bark up trees that none of us probably want to bark up to get that change, but I just keep thinking it's got to be different. It just has to.
Well, I think we do that even with students. Like when we moved from Tennessee, my kids, we moved to Tennessee and then moved back, just those gaps between moving across states and curriculum, and, just the different grading scales and how things are done across states, even for our students is different too.
Yeah. I mean, I jumped in a chat the other day with our MIE friends in the UK, and their chat was all about using Microsoft Teams in distance learning, but all their remarks were very deep and thoughtful and like advanced uses of Microsoft Teams. So afterwards, I was chatting with Lanny and Sarah, and I was like, my goodness, I love how in depth all these conversations are. And it's because the entire country has adopted Microsoft Teams as their platform. And so, that means so much, because they have the conversations, like you were saying, are uniform going about, how they're communicating about these different pieces. So if we could get some things as far as our teaching credentials or what we're if we could become more uniform in some of those things, it would help.
Definitely.
Hope so.
Yeah. All right. I know. I don't know. I think that may be all of the questions we have for you.
Anything else that you want to share with
Yeah.
us about anything that, any big projects you're working on? I know you talked about your blog. That's awesome. We've been seeing
Yeah.
that, and definitely want to connect with you if our viewers want to connect. We have your Twitter up there too. But any other information that you want to share with us or just talk about?
No, I mean, first of all, again, thank you to you guys for having me and let me be the guinea pig, and I'm happy to be the guinea pig as many more times as you need me.
There'll be more, don't worry.
Perfect. You know where to find me. I think make sure you tell me what color the slides are going to be, because I'd like to coordinate my outfit when I come on.
I think Jen is
all
going to
about
expect
matching.
that, so,
I'm all about matching. Funny side story to that. Nobody's going to care, but we have several spirit dress days throughout the year. And inevitably, our kids always choose to do some sort of like mismatch day. I can't do it. I literally I can't walk out of the house in like checkered pants and horizontal striped shirt. It makes me feel super uncomfortable. So I feel very at home with the matchy. So thank you very much.
That was perfect. I need to see your shirt every time you come on the show, so we can.
Perfect.
We need to get better about that, Slee. We usually have matching.
it's true. We do.
We'll
work on that.
First guess. You were nervous having me on. I told you.
It's true.
Not at all. But no, in all seriousness, I think I would just kind of end with sort of where we started, which is all the changes that are coming. Just embrace the change. I hope all educators everywhere are, embracing those changes, trying new things, and then sharing them out, right? I think the collaboration, as we've said, it's been so fun to hear stories. Not just, it's great to experience it yourself, obviously, at your own school and your district, like you guys are seeing. But when you start seeing it spread throughout the country and you see all these amazing ideas. I was on the Microsoft webinar today, and the Flipgrid discussion, right? I mean, just like unbelievable, some of the virtual graduations that are happening, and the school that did the Masked Singer, like through Flipgrid, that was mind blowing. Some of the creative ideas that they're doing just to keep people engaged. I just think it's really cool, and I encourage everybody to keep trying new things. Keep trying to meet your students. Always keep your students at the forefront of your thoughts and everything, and collaborate like you've never collaborated before, and just share and learn whenever you can.
Well, we've loved your team's example. That went viral, and Leslie Fisher shared that out in her.
That was awesome.
So that was
very
exciting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and things like that. Ordinarily, you would just think, "Oh, I'm just going to try it and just keep using it myself." But obviously, in my role, I share with my faculty a lot, but never would have thought putting that out into the universe would have created, a big excitement. And I mean, obviously love to get recognized, but it's just fun to know that people are seeing that and going, oh my gosh, I want that. That would be so useful because I can get A, B, and C done. That's the kind of sharing and growing that we can all do together. I love it.
We always say, and that's actually how the Gently Show was birthed, because we always say if one person has that question, someone else has that question too. So,
Totally.
We started this by wanting to create videos and wanting to talk and go into classrooms and work through things that we know teachers are struggling with that other teachers can gain from. So, I mean, that's just how we learn, and we are all better together by sharing and working together. So it's been awesome to see everyone come together and in this united front through all of this.
Yep.
Really
now we just got to make our classrooms look that way and get our kids better together and collaborating and not working on worksheets or individual homework practice or things like that. We got to create that collaborative environment everywhere.
Yeah,
for sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And
anytime. Thanks for having me.
Again. So it's been great. And we will definitely share this out, and hopefully other people can gain from some of the things you've shared today. It's been great. And follow Scott on Twitter and definitely connect with him, and he can answer any Teams questions you have, because he is a Teams expert for sure. So we've learned a lot from him as well.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Thanks again, you guys. Appreciate being on.
Yeah, don't forget to use the hashtag Brickerific. That's right. We helped coin that hashtag. I just want it to be known.
Absolutely. Full credit to you and the rest of my tribe for helping out with that, for sure.
It was a good brainstorming session on Twitter.
Yeah.
But definitely use this hashtag. We again, like Jenny, I'm just going to echo her. what she said. We love connecting with Scott and learning from him. So if you're not following him, definitely go follow him. He is amazing.
Thanks, guys.
And
Right
we'll
back
be
at you.
waiting for the rest of that blog to come out this week.
I know.
Coming out soon. Get my 5-year-old to cooperate. They'll come out a lot faster, actually.
We understand what that is.
Right? Y'all get it. Y'all get it for sure.
All right.
All right,
Talk to you
Scott.
later,
Well,
Scott.
thank you, and have
Thanks,
a great
guys.
rest of the week.
I appreciate
Bye.
it. Talk to you soon.